This portion of the news brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
Debate on the gaming bill began in the House of Assembly today, exactly a week after it was tabled.
As he moved the second reading of the legislation, the minister responsible for gaming, Obi Wilchcombe, reconciled with the Bahamian people on government's course of action, while at the same time outlining expected benefits.
Well, Carla Palmer was in the House of Assembly this morning.
Minister of Tourism responsible for gaming, member for West Grand Bahama and Bimini, the Honorable Obi Wilchcombe, did not extend an outright apology to Bahamians who voted no to the question of regulating web shops in January 28, 2013 gambling referendum, as some residents anticipated. However, he reconciled.
We're asking the Bahamian people to appreciate and understand where we are today, given that this is a different day, a different year. Mr. Speaker, that was never the intention. Truth is, Mr. Speaker, the government did not have to bring a referendum. The government could have done what it's doing now. But, Mr. Speaker, the change came after the central bank raised the red flag and others raised concerns pertaining to our financial services sector. Speaker, the government of the Bahamas was faced with a situation where we move now or face consequences later. Our country, Mr. Speaker, is before all of us.
Minister Wilchcombe defended the government against claims by the oppositions of, quote, being in bed with the web shop owners, end quote. He explained that historically, there was only one incident in which the gaming industry in the Bahamas got a black eye, so to speak, resulting from the 1967 Commission of Inquiry.
The Commission found that members of the administration, including Sir Roland Simonet, including Sir Stafford Sands, were all engaged in kickbacks. Were all receiving payment from Bahamas Amusements. Bahamas Amusements in Grand Bahama.
As a leader in Caribbean casino gaming as far back as 1920, Minister Wilchcombe maintains that the Bahamas has lost its competitive edge. And although the industry has operated illegally all these years, he says the government is seeking to fix the problem to the country's benefit.
To be competitive, Mr. Speaker, to have junkets to allow for the mobile gaming, to cause for proxy gaming, all the new components of gaming, the Bahamas must move in that direction.
Through this gaming legislation, the tourism minister is expecting to welcome some 200,000 more visitors to the country as a result, returning the Bahamas, he says, to a competitive advantage by putting the Bahamas back in the game. I'm Carla Palmer for ZNS Network News.
While on Andros meeting with officials from the Inter-American Development Bank last night, the country's leader, Prime Minister, the Right Honorable Perry Christie, addressed the gaming issue and the use of monies to fund targeted programs.
There are social challenges arising from gambling, and that we decided that in our taxation regime, we would take 2% of the taxable income and have that dedicated to discretionary causes that would help. The revenue from gambling, some of it should be used for purposes to benefit the people of our country, and we have put that in place.
Well, Island Luck CEO Sebastian is all for a portion of the taxes going towards charitable organizations.
I don't know why that had to be imposed on ourselves, because we would have demonstrated our support for our communities, timelessly and time over. But what I do think it's a good exercise that a percentage of the taxes are going specifically towards the community building and the social illness in our country. That's important too, because every operator may not give like how Island Luck gives. So I think it levels the playing field, and it provides a specific fund to do a specific thing. And as long as it helps, we obviously never have a problem in it.
Still on gaming, while the Member of Parliament for Central Grand Bahama, Nico Grant, says he supports the casino gambling regulations to keep the country on the cutting edge, he says he's opposed to web shop gaming being regulated. He maintains that the people's choice was disregarded and disrespected following the gaming referendum in which the majority voted no.
Mr. Speaker, this is a sad day in the Bahamas as we commence debate on a bill to legalize an illegal enterprise. This bill represents the death of democracy in the Bahamas as we know it today. The outcome of future general elections for generations to come will be greatly influenced by a selected few. The Bahamian people said no on January 28, 2013 to web shop gambling. 50,000 Bahamians, or 61% of those who voted in the botched $1.2 million or $5 million referendum, conveniently turned opinion polls said no to web shop gambling. Following the exercise, the Right Honorable Prime Minister and member for Centerville, Perry Gladstone Christie, said web shops will be closed. 1.5 years later, they remain open, flourishing, and expanding.
Also from the House of Assembly today, regulations governing the stem cell bill were tabled. Health Minister, the Honorable Dr. Perry Gomez, says the regulatory framework will allow for controlled monitoring and oversight, which will help to ensure the safety of participants. Dr. Gomez maintains the protocols follow international standards.
The regulations speak specifically to the establishment of three key committees. One, the National Stem Cell Ethics Committee. Two, the Scientific Committee. And three, the Compliance Committee. Each committee has very distinct functions, but interrelated and interfaced in such a manner that once operational will result in the harmonization of oversight and the monitoring processes. The other related legislations, such as the Medical Act of 2014, the Health and Hospitals Facility Act, the Health Professions Council, all dovetail appropriately to ensure the delivery of the highest quality of services in the stem cell industry.
A significant partnership formed in Sanya Creek that's expected to advance the cause of androgens. I'm Clint Watson. The story's ahead in the Bahamas tonight.
This portion of the news was brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
This is your Royal Fidelity Business News. I'm Sieska Adderley. Despite a $2 million injection, the recently merged bottled water business of Nautilus and Echo Water is still struggling. But its owner, Tennyson Wells, says there are signs of growth. Wells says he is confident the business will be successful at the end of the day.
We need to spend probably another $500,000 to $1 million to get it where it is functional with standby equipment, and so when one side break down, we could switch. That kind of thing is what we have to do now.
In other business news, Exumians getting insight into opportunities at the multi-billion-dollar Bahama Resort recently. The resort's officials highlighted specifically what skills will be required for employees at Rosewood, Grand Hyatt, SLS, and the Bahama Casino and Hotel properties. And in international news, France will not achieve its 3% EU budget deficit target. Figures show that the country's budget deficit will be around 4.4% of GDP this year. They're expected to drop to 4.3% next year and will not go below the 3% until 2017. France's growth projections for this year and next year have also been lowered from 0.7% to 0.4% in 2014 and down from 1.7% to 1% in 2015. This has been your Royal Fidelity Business News. I'm C.S. Scatterly.